Hi, and welcome to our topic about mental health, Lesson 1, the concept of mental health. People are born unique. Our brains are also wired differently. You have learned that an adolescent will encounter many changes in his or her life, so he or she needs a strong mental health condition to cope with them. Let us find out the factors that can affect the mental health of teenagers. The World Health Organization defines mental health as a state of well being in which every person knows his or her potential and can be productive to the community amid the normal stresses of life. Being mentally healthy is extremely important as this affects the person's way of thinking, feeling, and behaving. So the questions are you mentally healthy? What exactly can you do to achieve good mental health? And what are the factors that affect the promotion of good mental health? Achieving good mental health is mainly affected by three kinds of factors, namely biological, psychological, and environmental. Now let's go first to the biological factors. First, we have genetic makeup. If a certain mental health condition runs in the family, that mental health condition will not automatically pass to the next generation. However, the likelihood of transmission may still be high. Experts say that it takes abnormality in different genes rather than a single one and a trigger factor such as trauma, head injury, or abuse before the symptoms of mental health illness takes place. Another biological factor is injury. Injuries, particularly head injuries, can possibly bring about mental illness because they may cause changes and alternations in some parts of the brains that control certain functions in the body. Some brain or head injuries can actually cause changes in a person's personality. Another, we have infections. Infections, there are some infections in the brain that can be related to different development of mental illness. One example to that is toxoplasmosis. It is a disease that is associated with the development of some emotional instabilities and mental health conditions. Abnormal behaviors of people may with toxoplasmosis include suicidal attempts, bipolar disorders, and schizophrenia. Toxoplasmosis is caused by a parasite called Toxoplasma gondii that lives in the cat's intestines and can be transferred to humans. Another biological factors we have is prenatal problems. Prenatal problems in which a mother's substance abuse, trauma, or lack of oxygen during birth can cause disruptions in the baby's brain development and may result in the development of mental illness such as autism. We have also other biological factors. Poor nutrition and exposure to some harmful substances can cause mental illness. Aside from that, physical illness such as terminal illness can also make the person develop certain mental health disorders. So that is the different biological factors. Now we go to the next factor, which is the psychological factors. First, we have psychological trauma or abuse. So, severe psychological traumas such as physical, mental abuse, verbal abuse, and sexual abuse can lead to mental illness or disorder. A child who had suffered from any type of abuse may develop mental disorder in adulthood. Another psychological factor that can affect mental illness is the loss of a loved one or separation from a family member. The death of a very close family member, such as a parent or a sibling, and the separation of parents can have a negative impact among the youth. This experience can be extremely painful to them. Finding ways to cope and adjust to these life changes can be hard. These situations can be associated with the development of some mental illness or mental health disorders such as depression. Another psychological factor is the lack of parental love. Lack of parental love and neglect from parents may cause a child to have a low self esteem and feelings of insecurity. Because of this, the child may develop an inferiority complex as he gets older, resulting in a feeling of lack of self worth and a negative self image. So, this can be detrimental to the adolescent's mental health and may later result in serious mental health disorders. So, that is the different psychological factors. Now we move on to environmental factors. First, we have the job pressure and poverty. Unemployment can put extreme mental pressure on a person. It may cause him or her to develop mental health disorders such as anxiety and depression. In addition to that, people who live in poverty may also experience the same condition. Another, we have highly stressful environment and pressure. So, a person who lives, works, or goes to a highly stressful environment may develop mental disorders. Difficult jobs, unrealistic expectations, and big responsibilities are only some of the stressors that put pressure on the person. Some adolescents who cannot cope with the academic demands and stresses develop conditions related to mental stress. And some people are not able to cope with these stressors that they commit suicide. Social norms. There are cases wherein society's norms can cause some adolescent to develop mental health disorders. For example, in a society where being thin is associated with beauty, adolescents may feel isolated and bullied if their appearance does not conform to this norm. As a result, some teenagers develop eating disorder. Last one, we have substance abuse. An environment where substance abuse is common may have a great impact on the development of the mental health of the person. Likewise, abuse of these substances, such as alcohol or drugs, can cause a person to be mentally impaired. So, learning about the factors that affect the promotion of good mental health is very important. This helps the person be aware of the risk that can endanger his or her mental health condition. By avoiding these factors, the person can ensure that his or her mental health will always be in good condition. So, you have to, as an adolescent, should be aware of the factors affect the promotion of good mental health. That's all. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope that you learned something. Goodbye.